It's an all-too-familiar tale. A person meets the partner of their dreams online, only for that partner to scam them out of thousands of pounds.
Yes, for 76-year-old Elaine Chamberlain. Her scammer brainwashed her into believing that they would get married so he could steal her life savings before she died, leaving her with just £120 in the bank and the wedding dress that she had hoped to wear.
Elaine's son, Richard, joins us to share his heartbreaking story with the hope that it will serve as a warning to everybody. Your mum, Elaine, lost her partner of 31 years, Danny, in 2013. So obviously, you know, there's loneliness and later in life and reaching out and trying to find someone to fill part of that, you know, sort of that gap. What was she like as a person?
My mum was a very outgoing person. She liked to be life and soul of the party, liked to make people laugh, and very caring.
Yeah.
A very caring person.
So it was September 2019 that your mum actually told your wife, didn't she? That she was talking to someone and kind of getting to know someone. What did she say? And your wife sort of kept that from you, didn't she? Because you were going away, and I don't think she probably knew that you were going to feel a certain way about it, I'm assuming.
Yeah, she kept it away from me till we got back off holiday, and then she let me know. And mixed feelings.
Yeah.
My mum's been alone for a while, but happy for her as well.
Of course.
So you went round and you're talking to her. At what point did alarm bells start to ring for you?
It's when she said she'd met online, and obviously you hear about how people do get scammed. And I said, I'm quite happy with you. Who is this person? Where's he from? How old is he? And she told me. And
who did she say he was?
She told me his name was Mark, and he was a diver from America. I said, OK, that's great. But I just need to ask you a question, Mum. You're not sending any money, are you?
What did she say to that?
Of course not. I wouldn't be that silly.
At what point did you realise that, because you heard the guy's voice and you thought, this doesn't sound like the man that she's painting?
Yeah, well, I went round to see my mum, and she had a phone call while we was there, and I heard the voice on the phone, and I said to my mum, that's not an American gentleman. That's somebody completely different.
And that's by the accent, I
By
assume.
the accent,
so
yeah.
What sort of accent
It was
were you hearing?
It was a deep African accent.
So not the voice, the man that she had described to you. So I suppose at that point, your alarm bells must, considering you had a funny feeling from the get-go, I suppose at that point, well, what do you do?
What do? I have to just take a step back from the situation. And then I had to address the situation with my mum and say, Mum, this is not the person that you believe on the photos that you've shown me.
And that's hard. That's a hard conversation to have, right? If she's already falling or perhaps already fell, that's a really hard subject to broach, isn't it? Now, I know that... So fast forward to October 2020, the post office that your mum would go and deposit cash, but she told you at this point that she wasn't, right?
Correct, yes, yeah.
So what happens is the post office where she was depositing cash contacted South Yorkshire Police because they'd seen unusual activity.
That's right, yeah.
And I suppose this is when you must really start to panic.
Oh, yeah, we was. The alarm bells was ringing immensely. The post office, we went to see the post officers, and they told us out of duty of care that they contacted South Yorkshire Police because my mum was making large amounts, deposits of money to addresses, and they had a duty of care to contact them.
And some of them were in this country?
Yes, there was, yeah.
So you did... When I read your story this morning, I thought, oh, man, you know, what can you do? What more can you do? got involved with her finances. You're obviously speaking to her. You took power of attorney. She then took that back.
That's right.
So that you lost control of her finances. She was in control of her finances and her mind, although they had, as you say, allegedly brainwashed her. You had to back off, didn't you, for your own mental health?
I did, yeah. I got to such a low point in my life. It was affecting my family life with my wife and my son. And I had to take a step back because I just couldn't cope with the situation. No matter how much I'd spoke to my mum and how much time I'd spent speaking to doctors and authorities and getting people to come out and see her. I mean, it was bad at the time because we had the COVID pandemic was in real grip. So it was hard to get people to come out and see my mum and get them on board.
Well, she cancelled her carer.
She did.
For financial reasons, said, I can't afford that anymore, and obviously we now know why. Her health started to decline. You spoke to her and then went round and saw her just before she died.
I did, yeah.
And what sort of condition was she in?
She wasn't in a very good state of health. She was just sat there in a nightdress. Her home was in a particularly bad state as well. No tidying up had been done, pots unwashed. And I sat with her and had a chat with her for a couple of hours. And it was just like talking to a blank canvas.
Really?
It wasn't my mum. And with having the conversation with her, she never had a drink while I was there. Now, my mum loves a cup of tea or a coffee. And in the time I was there, she'd never had a drink.
So they'd essentially, it appeared, stolen everything she was as a person.
Yeah.
She'd utterly committed to them. Her health then failed. She was rushed to hospital where she died from multiple organ failure. You got back to her house after that and was so sorry about that. And you got back to her house. And as proof of how much they must have been hounding her, when you got back into her house, pretty much within 2 minutes, they were on the phone.
There was, yes. Within a few minutes of walking into my mum's house, her phone was ringing, and I picked the phone up, and it was a FaceTime call. So I answered the call, and there was an African gentleman on the other end of the phone asking for Elaine. And I said, Elaine's not here. I said, Elaine's dead. And he said to me, Elaine's dead. I says, yes. I says, and you guys have killed her. And I just cut the phone off.
Now, the police couldn't do anything because she willingly gave the money. The tragedy of this is that you then walk into her bedroom and you find a wedding dress which she had bought for her wedding to this guy, and you don't believe it was one guy, you believe it was a number of people, and a picture of her in the wedding dress that she'd sent to them.
Yeah, that was absolutely devastating to find that. Yeah, there was like a suit jacket hung up, and I opened it up, and inside was a wedding dress that she'd bought. My mum really believed that this guy was going to come over and marry her, and a pair of wedding rings as well.
Just absolutely.
And a photo inside as well of her in the wedding dress in the garden that she'd obviously sent to him.
I'm so sorry.
So sorry.
As we said, you were so caring and so thoughtful and diligent. What more could anyone do? What is your message to anyone watching now when you see what happened to your 76-year-old mum? What do you say?
If it's happening to your parents, whether it be your mum or your dad, just look out for the telltale signs. Just help them as much as you can. Try and get authorities on side and just try to convince them. If you do find out that they're sending money, just try and get them as much help as possible to stop this happening, because these people that are doing this, it's it's a daytime job to them. They don't care what happens to people or families. They're just there for the greed of the money.
Utterly ruthless and heartless.
And after you had that phone call with them, did the phone ring again?
No, never again. They'll have moved on to the next victim, won't they?
It's just utterly, utterly heartbreaking. I'm so sorry.
I hope, Richard, that you being here today has maybe made some people aware of maybe something that they've got involved in, or they're aware of something that their parents or friends may have got involved in. That's the best you can do, because I really don't believe that as a son you could have done much more than you did.
I know. I believe I did my best. Maybe backing from authorities a little bit more when you need the help. Yeah. But if anybody's going through what I'm going through out there, just do your best. Delve in it.
Be alert.
Be alert.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
No
Thank you very
much. Thank you.